Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again, and welcome to another video here at Wildwind Lacquer. In today's video, I am playing catch up again with my Orly Color Pass boxes, and this time we are looking at the winter collection or holiday collection for 2023, and this is 'Twas the Night. It is, as always, a 6-piece collection, and I got this through the Color Pass subscription box. So here are the 6 colors, and as I said, I am behind on getting these swatched for you guys. But I did want to get these up on my channel. As always, the collection box comes with a card. It shows you what was included in the subscription box. You get the swatches of the Color Pass collection down below, as well as what the freebies were for that month. So for this month, we did get a free Orly polish. This one is called Eternal Quest. This one is a dark blue in a rather dark blackened base. So that was our freebie polish. The other freebie was a little holiday set of stickers. This one I gotta say I wasn't the least bit excited about. I don't celebrate the holidays, so I will not be using these. The only ones that I would possibly use are maybe the little snowflakes. I guess I could possibly use the little bows for something, but yeah, overall I think I'll probably just be passing this one along. Alright, on to the collection. What I've been trying to do when I share these with you is also put together some comparisons. Alright, so let's dig in. The first polish is a topper. This one is called Spark, and this one is a coppery flake metallic in a clear base. This one is definitely one that I think I would use. When I first saw it, I thought for sure I had something pretty similar to it already, but if I do, I couldn't find it, but we'll get to that here in a second. Here is Spark in one coat, all on its own. This is with a glossy top coat. As you can see, it is pretty sparse, but for a flaky this size, I think that still will get the job done over another color. You can see all of the different shapes and sizes of those flakes. This also should be pretty versatile. I think this will go over nearly every color. And then to compare it, the one that I did pull that was closest is another Orly polish, and this one is called Watch It Glitter. Now, of course, the difference with this is Watch It Glitter is a glitter and Spark is a flaky, but that is the closest one that I could come up with. So color-wise, they're pretty close. So here they are on the nail. We have Make It Glitter down below and Spark up there at the top. So you're getting basically the same color of topper, it's just in a different shape. So Make It Glitter is going to be those glitter shapes, hexes and rounds, and then of course Spark is going to be those flakes as well as almost like a bar glitter shape. And I don't know if that's just a random shape that the flakes took or if there actually is a bar glitter in there, but you do get a variety of shapes there, so not dupes. So that first one in the collection was Spark. Next up is a beautiful fuchsia or berry shade. This one is called Sugar Plum Suare, and this one is an interesting one. It's somewhere between like a metallic and a shimmer. It's got a gleam to it. This was another one where when I unboxed it, I felt like we'd seen something similar to it, but here's that one in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. I will say the formula on this is beautiful. It was nice and opaque for me in just these 2 coats. It wasn't streaky. I don't see brush strokes once it's dried. So it was a really nice formula to work with, and it is a lovely berry shade there. So the color that I pulled for this is actually another Orly, and this comes from an earlier collection from 2023. This is Awestruck, at least I think it was 2023. So this was the closest that I could come up with from Orly. And this might have been what I was being reminded of when I saw the Sugar Plum one in this collection. As you can see though, Awestruck does have a different finish to it. It is more metallic-y, and it does have some orange shifts in it. So here are those 2 compared. We have Sugar Plum Suare up at the top and Awestruck there at the bottom. I think here the finish differences are much more apparent than they were in the bottle. You have that gleam and more of that shimmery shine in Awestruck, whereas Sugar Plum Suare is kind of a different finish. It's a little bit more almost pearl-escent by comparison. So even though in the bottle it did give the impression of being sort of a almost metallic-y gleam, I think that gleam might instead be that pearl-escent. So again, not dupes, but that was the closest that I had. So that second polish in the collection was Sugar Plum Suare. Next up we have a very dark green. This one is Regal Pine, and this one is the first cream in the collection. It is a dark pine green. This one I thought for sure I would have a straight up dupe for, but again the formula on this was perfection. It was great in just 2 coats. So here's that one in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. And yeah, just perfectly opaque. The formula on these creams was spot on. I don't see anybody needing a 3rd coat for any of these. It is that evergreen pine shade. And like I said, I was thinking I had something like this. The first one that came to mind was actually an indie polish. This is from Palette Polish, and this is Nori. Now I try to stick mostly to comparing mainstream to mainstream, but this was the first one that came to mind because it is such a similar shade of green, so I did want to compare them. And in the bottle they do look very close. I will say up at the top my palette polish has separated a little bit, so you're seeing a little bit more of like a deep teal there, but we'll take a look at it swatched here in a moment. And then I did pull a mainstream to compare. This is a Pacifica. Now apologies because Pacifica doesn't make this line of polish anymore, so it's not available, but I figured it was worth comparing because if you already have this one, you can at least see how the new Orly one does compare. But this is London Tomboy. This one, again, I feel like has a little bit of separation going on in the bottle, so you might be seeing a little bit more of a blue lean in certain areas of the bottle. But let's go ahead and see how these compare. So on top we have Orly's Regal Pine, on the left we have Nori from Palette Polish, and on the right London Tomboy from Pacifica. And I think here we don't really have dupes. We have a very similar vibe, obviously. We're dealing with very dark greens here. But while Palette Polish, Nori did look very close in the bottle, I feel like Regal Pine is more green leaning. There's an even deeper green quality to Nori. So think, well, Nori, that seaweed that you get around sushi, it's more of that really blackened green. And then when you compare it to London Tomboy from Pacifica, again, not straight up dupes, although again, if you already have one of these, it's up to you if you think that they are close enough or not, but I see a lot more blue in London Tomboy, where Regal Pine from Orly is more of like a yellow leaning pine green. But there are those. So that 3rd polish in the collection was Regal Pine. Next up we have a red, and this one is called Velvet Ribbon. And this one is almost like a clay or terracotta leaning red. It's got that pinch of an orange or burnt quality to it. It's actually a beautiful shade. I was pleasantly surprised that we didn't get a classic holiday shade of red. That's more of what I would have expected given the theme of the collection, but this is a beautiful shade of that burnt red. And this is another cream in the collection. This one I could see myself reaching for in the fall. Beautiful shade there. So here's Velvet Ribbon in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. And yeah, this is definitely like a clay burnt orange leaning red. This is rather a unique shade. I don't think I've seen this color come from Orly before, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Very pleasantly surprised, like I said, that we didn't get a bright Christmassy red. So when I was looking through my mainstream polishes to try to find a color close, the closest one I found was from OPI, and it was I Love You, Just Be Cusco. So here in the bottle, they look pretty much dead on dupes. Very, very close. Both of them are that burnt orange leaning red, almost a deep terracotta. So let's see if they are dupes once swatched. So here we have the Orly on top, the OPI I Love You, Just Be Cusco on the bottom. And I will say once they're swatched, they're not 100% the same. I feel like there's even more orange in that Orly. That actually has a deeper rust shade while still being in the red family. And then by comparison, I Love You, Just Be Cusco is more red leaning, just by a pinch. Similar but different. So that one was Velvet Ribbon. Next up we have the teal of the collection. This one was Cozy Night and another cream. This is another one where I thought for sure I would have a dupe. In fact, probably from Orly. It was reminding me of something else that I got from one of the Color Pass boxes, but if that's the case, I couldn't find it, but we'll see what I did pull for a comparison. But here is that one in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. And again, we are dealing with a wonderful formula here, just 2 coats. I don't see anybody needing to come back for a third. This one is a deep shade of that teal color. And I'm sure if I were to be able to peruse my collection some more, if I had it better organized, I might be able to find a couple more shades in creams to compare this to. But what I did go ahead and pull is from C&D Vinylux, and this is called Viridian Veil. Now, right off the bat, it does have a finish difference. The Orly is a cream, whereas the C&D Vinylux is not. But let's go ahead and see how they do compare, at least color-wise. So here they are compared. We have the Orly on top, the C&D Vinylux on the bottom. And as you can see, they're not even close. Even though I figured in the bottle, the base color might be similar. Once we get that finish dried down in that C&D Vinylux, it is a bright metallic by comparison, whereas that teal from Orly is a deeper, almost blackened seeming when you compare it to the brighter finish from C&D Vinylux, so not even close. So that teal was Cozy Night. And then last but not least, we have this very light blue, and this is Snow Angel. This one is basically a white with a very light pinch of a pastel sky blue in it, and it is very wintry. Also, I think you could wear this in the spring as well. It is another cream, and here it is in 2 coats with a glossy top coat. I will say, for such a light shade, I was impressed with this formula. Again, just 2 coats, not patchy at all, which is very impressive for such a light white leaning shade. So for this one, I actually had a hard time pulling something to compare it to. While I was going through a bunch of polish, the closest I could come up with was Sinful Colors Eucalypta. And obviously it's not the same, but it was the closest I could come up with when I was going through the polish that I had access to in my unorganized collection. So we will see it compared to that. But as I was going through another box of polish, I found this one, and I think this is much closer. This one is Color Club's Meet Me at the Rink. It is again a very light white leaning sky blue. So we will briefly look at it compared to that Sinful Colors. Obviously they are not the same. We have much more of a light eucalyptus green in Eucalypta. And then here it is compared to the Color Club. As you can see, they are much closer. They're at least in the same ballpark, but they are different. I want to say the one from Color Club has a barest pinch more of a sky blue, whereas there's not quite as much blue in the Orly. So that last one in the collection was Snow Angel. And there we have it. That was Orly's 'Twas the Night collection for holiday 2023. Let me know down below which ones were your favorites. I feel like lately I am unimpressed when I first opened the Color Pass box, and then if I give myself time and I come back and look at it later, I find pieces here and there that I'm more happy with. But for this one, I think mainly it was just the overall theme that I wasn't that jazzed about. Like I said, I don't celebrate the holidays, so to get an entire holiday themed collection just wasn't up my alley. It didn't excite me or give me nostalgia or anything like that. But I will say, formula wise, again, they were fantastic. The creams were great 2-coat formulas. I definitely see myself reaching for this topper to use, especially in the fall. I'm actually more excited about this light blue than I thought I would be initially. I think I could see myself wearing that maybe in early spring. And then my favorite has to be this one, this burnt red. This is such a beautiful color, and I don't have anything exactly like it, so that has to be my favorite from the collection. That again was Velvet Ribbon. But let me know which ones were your favorites. Are you subscribed to the Color Pass box? I did end up resubscribing at the beginning of this year in January, so I am going to get another year of Orly Color Pass boxes. I in fact do have the spring collection that I need to swatch and do comparisons of as well, so stay tuned for that. As always, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you had a good time. If you're new, think about hitting that little subscribe button down below. That way you don't miss out on any of my new videos, and I will see you in that next one.